Hey kids! Today we're gonna read Disney's 5-minute sleepy stories. And today we're gonna read Who Cares, Pooh Cares by Bonnie Worth, illustrated by Samantha Holster, copyright 2007, Disney Enterprises, Inc., characters based on the Winnie the Pooh works by A. Milne and E. H. Shepard.
Who cares? Who cares? One bright and cheery day in the 100-acre wood, a mama duck waited patiently for her eggs to hatch. Suddenly, crack, crack, crack. 3 fuzzy yellow ducklings poked through their spotted shells. Mama duck greeted them with a loud and proud quack. Then she led her ducklings to the pond for their first swimming lesson.
But Mama Duck did not know that one spotted egg was left behind beneath a pile of soft green leaves. Another fuzzy yellow head poked out from the shell. The tiny duckling began to quack softly for his mama, but there was no answer. He did not know what to do, so he sat and waited and waited and waited.
On this very same day in the 100-acre wood, Winnie the Pooh and his best friend Piglet decided to go for a morning stroll. It wasn't long before Piglet's ears perked up. "Pooh," he said, "do you hear something?" Pooh listened carefully. "I believe I do," he answered. "It sounds like flapping and rustling and quacking."
I will... Pooh parted some lilies to discover a tiny, fuzzy duckling sitting there. "We must find his mother," said Pooh. So the two friends gently nudged the duckling out of the nest and went off to search. But there were no ducks in sight. "There was only one thing to do now," said Pooh. "We shall take him to my house."
"Before we do," said Piglet, "this little duckling needs a name." "Oh, yes," Pooh agreed, "and I think you just named him." "I did?" asked Piglet. "Funny, I don't remember Little," said Pooh. "That's what we'll call him, because he's very that." "Follow us, Little," said Piglet with a giggle. "We're taking you to Pooh's house."
At Pooh's house, the friends found a small box to make into a comfy bed for Little. Pooh let the duckling borrow a blanket so he'd be nice and cozy, and Piglet set up a nightlight in case he was afraid of the dark. Then Piglet filled a saucer with water and left it next to Little's new bed, just in case he gets thirsty, he said.
The next morning, Pooh, Piglet, and Little went to visit Rabbit for their first meal of the day. "We were wondering if you might have a little something for him to eat," Pooh said. Exactly 1 minute later, Rabbit presented Little with a plate of tiny green beans, peas, and half a chopped tomato. "Oh, look!" cried Piglet, watching Little nibble away. "He likes it. I would expect you to have a little something." "Of course," Rabbit said. "What would you expect?" "I would expect you to have a little something for us as well, please," said Pooh. Rabbit returned a minute later with some honey.
After breakfast, Pooh and Piglet took Little to Kenya and Rue's house. "Oh boy, Mama," said Rue, "I have a new friend. I'm going to teach him all my games." The first game was Follow the Leader. After a while, Rue moved on to playing hide and seek. Soon after, Little was in for something special, for there was nothing Rue loved more than making pies from soft, squishy mud.
After a bath and a snack, Pooh and Piglet headed home and stopped to visit Owl on the way. "Well, bless my bink, aren't you something?" pronounced Owl. "Let me show you how to prim and plumb those fuzzy yellow feathers of yours, fellow dear." Owl proceeded to fuss with his feathers. When Little tried to imitate him, the duckling puffed up 2 sizes. After saying goodbye and thanking Owl, a fuller, fluffier Little waddled home with Winnie the Pooh. The very next day, Tiger and Rue came to Pooh's house to give Little a bouncing lesson. "Hoo, hoo, hoo!" cried Tiger. "Let's bounce in the pond and take you for a swim, Lil." So Little got his first lesson in bouncing, which for him was more like a long waddle followed by 2 quick hops. At the pond, Rue introduced Little to the most amazing creatures. Little took a ride on the back of a turtle, splashed with a playful perch, and bounced with a croaking frog. "I think he likes it here," said Rue after their swim. Tiger bounced Rue and Little home. The next day, after a good night's sleep, Eeyore came by to show Little his home and to ask Little if he could teach him how to waddle. Little nodded and willingly and began to waddle around this little patch. Then Eeyore began to waddle too. He waddled up, he waddled back, he waddled left, he waddled right, and then he tipped right over. "I knew it was too good to last," said Eeyore. When it was time to leave, everyone walked Little to Pooh's house. But before long, he realized they were lost. Better just sit tight and wait for somebody to come and find us, Eeyore said. Eeyore and Little nestled together and took a little nap while they waited to be found. After what seems like a very long while, Pooh and Piglet found them fast asleep beneath a willow tree. Together the friends walked and waddled home to Pooh's house. When Pooh and Piglet put Little to bed, they heard the duckling quacking and asleep. "Listen, Pooh," said Piglet. "I think he's quacking." "Mama! Mama!" "Oh dear," said Pooh. "Perhaps it's time to try to find Little's mother again." The next day, with Kanga and Rue's help, Pooh and Piglet found Mama Duck. After quite a little of talking and clapping and quacking, they managed to explain what had happened. Soon everyone had gathered at the duck pond, and there followed a heartwarming reunion between Little and his mama. "I will miss Little," Pooh said, "but I am very happy that he is going to be with his family now. He knows he will always be welcome here." The end. Thanks for listening. Read lots.